My daughter handed her grandma a gift and said, "Dad told me to give this to you if you ignored me again." The room froze. My daughter stood near the fireplace, wearing the yellow dress she'd begged to wear, even though it was snowing outside. Her little fingers clutched a paper-wrapped box with a red bow she tied herself. Every adult in the room was busy laughing, sipping wine, passing plates of baked brie and tiny appetizers that looked better than they tasted. No one noticed her, except me. I watched her eyes flicker across the room. She was searching for someone. When she found her, she stepped forward, box in hand, and said the words that silenced Christmas, double quotes, "Grandma, ... Dad told me to give this to you if you ever forgot me again." Everything froze, even the music seemed to stop. Forks hovered midair. My mother-in-law, Janice, blinked twice, then gave one of her signature polite smile laughs. "What's this, sweetheart?" she asked, like it was a joke. But when she opened the box, she didn't laugh, she didn't smile. She gasped, loud, sharp. Raw top people turned. Someone dropped a glass. And Janice, she screamed. I already knew what was in that box. My husband, Adam, packed it months ago. He told me, one day, she's going to go too far. And when that day comes, our daughter gets to decide what happens next. Well, that day was today. Let me take you back. Let me tell you how we got here. How my daughter became invisible in a house filled with gifts, glitter, and empty traditions. And how that tiny box shattered the perfect illusion this family had been clinging to for years. When I married Adam, I thought I was marrying into a dream. His family was big, loud, warm, the kind that does themed Christmas parties and birthday brunches with place cards. His mom, Janice, ran the show. She had a signature pie and a guest bathroom with monogrammed towels. I'll admit it, I was intimidated, but I also tried hard. She complimented my pasta salad the first time we met, hugged me like we were already close, called me dear when I helped clear the dishes. And I thought, maybe this is what acceptance feels like, but slowly it changed. Subtle things. She'd forget to include me on group texts, mention how different I was from the rest of the family, laugh lightly when I brought up how we did things in my house growing up, always polite but always a little colder than before. And when Lily came along, my daughter from a previous relationship, that's when things truly shifted. Adam never hesitated. He stepped into her life when she was 3, braided her hair, learned her favorite bedtime stories, signed the adoption papers without flinching. In our house, we never used the word step. She was his, he was hers. But to Janice, Lily was ... optional, an accessory to our life, not part of the family tree. At first, she played the part. She gave Lily a Barbie once during a holiday exchange, sent a birthday card that first year with a glittery kitten on it, but it was never the same. Cousins had matching family t-shirts for the summer trip. Lily didn't get one. The other grandkids got embroidered stockings with their names. Lily's was plain red. Generic. I remember the Thanksgiving when it really hit me. Janice had made personalized pie slices for each child, a little place card stuck into whipped cream. For Avery, for Emma, for Jack. Lily's plate. A leftover paper one from Halloween. She noticed. Kids always do. That night, she whispered to me, "Mom, am I actually her granddaughter?" I didn't have an answer. Adam heard it too. His jaw clenched so tight I thought he might crack a molar. He didn't say anything. Not then. But something changed that night still. We kept going to every gathering. I told myself it was for Lily, for the memories, for the tradition. Love didn't have to look like presents or pajamas, right? But deep down, I was lying. I was scared. Scared to make waves. Scared that if I said the wrong thing, I'd force Adam to choose, so I swallowed it. Again and again. Until Lily started to shrink. Not physically, but emotionally. She stopped running to hug Grandma, stopped drawing pictures for family dinners, stopped asking to go. And then came the December party. I dressed her up in the yellow dress she loved. We brought a homemade batch of chocolate cookies and a gift for Janice, a small clay flower pot Lily painted at school. She wrote Grandma across it in purple marker. Her hands were so careful as she carried it into the house. We walked in. Avery and Emma ran to Grandma. She gasped and clapped like it was a surprise reunion. Hugged them both, handed over sleek boxers wrapped in silver foil. Then she looked at Lily, paused. "Oh, hi, sweetheart. You look bright." She took the flower pot like someone takes a receipt they didn't want. Set it on a side table without even glancing at it. I felt it in my gut. but Lily didn't say a word. She just walked to the corner and sat by the tree. Then came the gift reveal. Janice always made a spectacle of it. Called each grandchild like they were contestants in a pageant. Avery got a brand new iPad. Emma got a Polaroid camera and cash. Jack, a full Lego set and ASMARTWATCH. Then, after a long pause, Janice held up a small gift bag. For Lily, she said. I didn't want her to feel completely left out. Inside was a pack of colored pens, the kind you get at the dollar store, and a sticky note on the tag that said, to Adam's girl, not Lily, not granddaughter, not even love, grandma, just Adam's girl. I looked at Adam. His hands were clenched in his lap, silent, but burning, and that was when I knew he hadn't forgotten the box, neither had Lily. That night, we barely spoke on the drive home. The lights from the houses blurred past the window, blinking red and green like they were mocking us. Lily sat in the back seat, still clutching the pens in her lap. She hadn't even taken them out of the bag. Her voice came quiet, like it had traveled through a tunnel. Did Grandma not like my present? I turned around in my seat, trying to hold my smile together. Of course she did, baby. But Adam beat me to it. Grandma forgot something important, he said. Then he looked at her in the mirror. But I think she's about to remember. Lily didn't say anything. Just looked down at the small red-wrapped box in her lap, the one Adam had given her months ago. The one we kept in the closet, just in case. She ran her finger across the bow and whispered, then I want to give it to her tomorrow. I felt something shift in my chest, not panic, not fear, just a quiet certainty. My daughter was done asking to be seen. When we got home, she didn't ask for a movie. Didn't want cookies. She went straight to her room and asked me to help take her curls out so she could redo them in the morning. Adam and I stayed up late in the kitchen. The box sat between us like a sleeping animal, quiet, but heavy with what it could do. I looked at him. What's in it? Exactly. He exhaled slowly, then told me everything. Remember Jonah's birthday? He said. Backyard party, bounce house, all the cousins playing. I nodded. Of course I remembered. That was the day Lily got a slice of cake with no frosting, no candle, no happy birthday song like the others. That night, Adam said, she asked me if she was really related to anyone. My throat tightened. She never told me that part. I didn't know what to say, he said. So after she went to sleep, I printed her adoption papers again. Put them in the box with a picture from her adoption day. He swallowed hard, and I wrote a letter. For my mom. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. He looked down. Because I didn't want to make you pick sides. I didn't want another fight about my mom. But I needed Lily to know that if it ever got to hard, if Grandma made her feel like she didn't belong against, she had a choice. He leaned back, in his chair. She could give her that box. She could say enough, and I would stand beside her. I had waited years for Adam to draw a line. And here he was. Not shouting. Not threatening. Just giving his daughter the power to decide when enough was enough. The next morning, Lily woke up before we did. She laid out her sparkly yellow dress. Again, asked me to help her redo her curls, this time tighter. She picked the same headband she wore in the photo Adam had placed in the box. She didn't say it was for luck. She didn't need to. In the car, she held the box in both hands like it was glass. She didn't fidget. She didn't hesitate. When we pulled up to Janice's house for Christmas brunch, everything looked the same. Snowmen in the yard, twinkle lights framing the windows. Smell of cinnamon from the kitchen. But we weren't the same. Not anymore. Janice greeted us with the usual holiday cheer. Look who's back, she sang, kissing Adam's cheek and gushing over Avery's new coat. She looked at Lily and said, well, don't you look bright again? Same line as the day before. Almost like she had it rehearsed. Lily didn't react. Just held her. Box. The brunch was fancy as always. Eggs Benedict, fruit towers, cloth napkins. Avery spilled orange juice and everyone laughed like it was charming. Lily barely touched her food. She was focused, and then it happened. Right as dessert was being passed around, mini cheesecakes with edible snowflakes. Lily stood up at first. No one noticed, but then she walked to the head of the table, right to Janice's seat, set the box down in front of her, and said it. Clear.com. Grandma, Dad told me to give this to you if you ever forgot me again. Silence. Janice blinked, caught mid-sip of champagne. She gave a confused chuckle. What's this? Honey, a game. Lily didn't answer. She just walked back to her seat and sat beside me. Folding her hands in her lap, Adam reached under the table and took my hand. I squeezed back. Janice stared at the box like it might explode. She picked at the wrapping, tried to laugh it off again, but you could feel the tension pulling the air tight. She peeled back. The red paper dot opened the lid and froze. On top was the photo, Adam holding Lily at the adoption celebration, her arms wrapped around his neck, cake on her cheeks, joy in her eyes, in gold lettering at the bottom. Day 1 Dad. Beneath it, a manila envelope. She opened it. First came the adoption papers. Official. Signed. Court seal stamped clean across the bottom. Adam's name under father. No asterisk. No footnote. No step. Then the letter. Handwritten. Adam's words. She read it silently. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her cheeks drained of color. Her posture shrank. I could feel the room holding its breath. When she reached the end, she dropped the letter like it was hot. No one moved. Not a word. Just the soft ticking of the antique wall clock behind her. And then she screamed a raw, high-pitched sound that cracked like glass across the table. The scream jolted everyone. Avery dropped her fork. Someone spilled their drink. Janice stood up so fast her chair screeched backward across the hardwood. Her face was pale, her eyes wide, like she had been caught naked in front of a crowd. She looked around the table, blinking rapidly, mouth opening and closing like she was searching for a script, but there was no script for this. Finally, she pointed a trembling finger at me. This is your doing, she spat. You turned him against me. You put her up to this. I stood, not loud, not dramatic, just calm. Steady. Lily gave you a gift, I said. A chance to see her. Really see her. You chose not to. Her lip curled, like she was about to argue. But then Adam stood too. And his voice, it was the calmest thing in the room. We didn't embarrass you, he said. You did that all by yourself. That stopped her. For a second, the only sound was the fireplace crackling behind us. The flames popped softly, almost like punctuation. Janice looked at Lily, who was still sitting in her seat, quiet, not afraid, not unsure, just watching, that like someone watching the final scene of a story she already knew the ending to. Get out, Janice whispered. Adam didn't flinch. We're already leaving. He reached down and took Lily's hand. I grabbed our coats. No one else at the table said a word. No one stopped us. No one followed. Not even a goodbye. We stepped outside into the cold. Fresh air felt like a relief. Like a weight had lifted, one we didn't realize had been pressing on our shoulders for years. In the car, Lily buckled herself in without a word. We drove in silence for a few blocks. The Christmas lights blurred again in the windows. Then she spoke. Soft. Simple. Do you think she read the whole letter? Adam looked at her in the rearview mirror. Held her gaze. Every single word. He said. Lily didn't smile big. But something in her shoulders relaxed. A small quiet peace settled over her. Not because Janice had changed, but because she didn't need her to anymore, and honestly neither did we. We never went back after that. No birthday dinners, no Easter brunches, no forced Christmas cards with fake smiles and glittery lies. Janice never called, never texted, not even to yell. And we didn't chase her. For the first time in years, our house was still, peaceful, and real. I expected Lily to ask questions, to feel sad, to want closure, but she DN'd single quotes to instead. She stopped checking her cubby for invitations to cousin parties. She stopped looking for her name on family crafts or picture frames. She stopped measuring her worth by someone else's approval. A week later, a small padded envelope arrived in the mail. Handwritten, addressed to Lily. Inside was a simple silver bracelet with a tiny heart charm, and a note, written in crayon. It was from Emma, Avery's little sister. I'm sorry Grandma was mean, it said. You're my cousin forever. I bought this with my allowance. Lily read the note twice. Then she slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. She didn't ask if she could wear it every day. She just did it. Stayed on through school, playdates even, baths. To her, it meant more than a mountain of gifts ever could. It meant someone saw her, chose her, without being told, and to me, that meant everything. As for Adam, he changed too. Years of guilt, hesitation, emotional tug-of-war between his mother and his daughter. It faded. I started catching him watching Lily more, not with worry, but with wonder. One night, I found him sitting at the edge of her bed, watching her sleep. He looked up when I walked in. I should have done it sooner, he said. I shook my head. You did it exactly when she needed you to. We started building new traditions. Small ones. Quiet ones. We didn't need matching pajamas or expensive parties. We just needed each other. Lily helped us decorate cookies for neighbors. We watched holiday movies under a mountain of blankets in the living room. Built snowmen with crooked hats and mismatched mittens. Our house wasn't perfect, but it was real, and that was more than enough. People talk about cutting off toxic family like it's just a decision. Like it's flipping a switch. It's not. It hurts. Even when it's necessary. Even when you're right. But you know what hurts more? Watching your child shrink. Watching them twist themselves into smaller and smaller versions of who they are just to be tolerated, to be accepted by someone who refuses to love them fully. I won't do that again. Not for peace. Not for tradition. Not for family. Lily didn't need a seat at that table. She needed to know she belonged without having to earn it. And that red box. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't drama. It was her voice, her truth, delivered calmly. Wrapped in love and boundaries, and when Janice opened it, the illusion shattered. Finally, we kept the box. Not because we needed proof, but because it marked the moment Lily chose herself. Tucked it away in the top drawer of my dresser, right next to her baby shoes. A dried flower from her first recital bouquet, and the hospital bracelet from the day she was born. We didn't talk about it much after. There was no need. The silence from Janice was loud enough. No texts, no apologies, no guilt-soaked gifts in the mail. Just nothing. And somehow, that was easier to carry than all the pretending we used to do. One morning, Lily came downstairs wearing her new silver bracelet, the one Emma Sentand asked if she could bring cookies to school for her class. Just because, she said. Not for a party, just for kindness. I looked at her then, her calmness, her quiet confidence, her steady little voice, and I thought, this child is stronger than most adults I know. She had every reason to feel angry, to feel bitter, but she didn't. Because somewhere inside her, she had decided that being ignored wouldn't define her. She chose to shine anyway. And that taught me something. It taught me that sometimes, it's not the yelling or the confrontations that change things. It's the quiet stand. The one you take without asking for permission. The one you take with a red wrapped box in your hand and a steady voice in your chest. Adam changed too. Not just in big ways like refusing to go to any more family events that excluded his daughter, but in quiet ways. He'd leave notes in Lily's lunchbox now. Pick her up early from school just to take her for ice cream. Let her paint his nails without flinching or making it a joke. He told her he loved her, every single day, loud enough to be heard, clear enough to be believed. And the more he showed up for her, the more I saw that weight, the guilt of being torn between his mother and his daughter, start to melt off his shoulders. One night, I found him scrolling through old photos on his phone. He stopped at one. The picture from Lily's adoption date, the same one that was in the box. He stared at it for a long time, then looked up and said, "You know, she was already mine long before the judge signed anything." I nodded. "She's always known." He smiled. "But I think now, my mom finally knows too." We don't hate Janice. We don't sit around bad-mouthing her. We don't throw darts at her photo or write angry drafts of texts we never send. We just stopped waiting for her to wake up, to apologize, to be the grandmother Lily deserved. Stopped making excuses on her behalf. Stopped sacrificing our peace on the altar of family expectations. We built something new instead. We let Lily paint the hallway with her art. We started letting her plan family night, whether it was movie marathons or building cardboard castles. We let love be loud in our home, but we also let it be soft, gentle, unconditional, because she deserves that, because all kids do. One afternoon, while folding laundry, Lily came in and sat on the bed beside me. She was quiet for a minute. Then she said, "I don't think Grandma hates me." I paused. "No, I don't think so either. I think," she said slowly, "she just doesn't know how to love me right." I blinked. Because what kind of 7-year-old says that? I looked at her, stunned by her wisdom, by her peace, and then she added, "But that's okay. I have enough love now." That's when I knew my daughter had healed from something most adults carry their whole lives. Not because Janice apologized, not because we fixed anything, but because we stopped asking her to shrink for someone else's comfort. And that box, it never had power because of what was inside it. Not really. It had power because of what it meant. It meant boundaries. It meant worth. It meant a child who was told, you don't have to sit quietly while someone forgets you exist. And, most importantly, it meant she had parents who backed her. Not just in private, but in public. At a table filled with judgment, under twinkling lights, in a house built on fake smiles, we chose her. Lily never brings up that day anymore. But sometimes when the family talk shows come on, or when someone mentions blood is thicker than water, she look at me and raise an eyebrow, the way only she can, and I'll laugh. Because she knows. And I know. Family isn't who gives you the biggest gifts, it's who sees you in the smallest moments. It's who stands beside you when it's uncomfortable, who holds your hand when the room goes quiet, who lets you speak when your voice shakes. Lily taught me that 7 years old, and already braver than most people twice her age. So if you're reading this or watching this, and you're wondering if it's okay to stand up, to say this isn't enough, to draw a line even if it's your own family, let this be your sign. You don't need permission to be seen. You don't need to earn love that should have been given freely, and you don't need to stay small just so someone else doesn't feel uncomfortable. Your voice matters. Your worth isn't up for debate. And sometimes the quietest child in the room is the one who changes everything. Just ask Lily.